and then hopefully everybody can dump in and we'll get going, because I'm going to need a lot of time to cover our topic for today.
Weekly look at, all right, it's Monday, October 19th, 2020, and this is your weekly look at the latest Altos research data that came in over the weekend for the entire U.S. real estate market. Each week, Altos tracks every home for sale in the entire U.S., all the pricing, the changes in pricing, the supply and demand, and we make these statistics available to our customers so that you can see the trends in the U.S. housing market far before it becomes available through the traditional data channels. As we approach the end of October, we're now 6 months past the anniversary of the mortgage forbearance program. When we started this program in March, as many as 4 million people opted to stop paying their mortgages as the pandemic crisis took hold. Each week, fewer and fewer Americans are in that state, though, as they resume either paying their mortgage, their normal payment schedules, or sometimes selling or moving. While most of these agreements were for 12 months, there was a group that was set to expire in 6 months, and that group is now renegotiating in some manner. Most of these are rolled over to 12 months, so next April is still going to be that transition time for us to keep our eye on. But what's interesting is October has proven that almost none of these homeowners are being forced to sell in a distressed manner. And you can see that our weekly new listings count here remains absolutely normal. There's no surge in new listings coming to market. There's no changes in the pricing of those. So in 2 weeks, we'll start November, and we should expect that new listings fall weekly through the end of the year. You can see right now the 2020 line continues to be right in the normal seasonal zone. Meanwhile, the price of these new listings continues to hold strong too. That's the blue line on this chart here. The new listing prices have been actually flat for 3 full months during the season when they're normally pulling back. This is straight up a function of buyer demand across the country. New homes get strong asking prices because the buyers are buying them. We'd see it here first if the buyer demand was starting to pull back. It's not yet. Median home price in the US is $350,000 this week. But when we look at the year-over-year comparison, you can see that the home prices in late 2020 have remained unseasonably strong, up about 7.7% from last year at this time. In 2 weeks, as I mentioned, we'll begin that November-December seasonal home price pullback, and that will let us see that we're back into a normal, more normal seasonal pattern. Finally, this week, let's look at the crisis shortage in available inventory. Inventory ticked down just a fraction this week to 554,000 homes, single family homes on the market. It feels like this strong buyer demand is pulling some opportunistic listings to the market. If you're a listing agent, this trend can be an excellent message for potential sellers. Demand is here now. Prices are as strong as they've ever been. It's a really good time to sell into this market. So that's the data this week. As always, visit altosresearch.com for full detail.
Okay, what'd you guys pick up?
April 2021 is the month to kind of keep an eye on for that 12-month forbearance. And then in terms of when you're talking with your potential sellers, there's a strong buyer demand. Prices are as good as they're going to be. Interest rates are great. So it's a great opportunity to get into the market if you're going to sell.
Perfect. you guys probably saw me do the screenshot, capture that screenshot, put that out there on social media, and then also take that with you on your listing presentation. Last week, or was it last week? Yeah, we talked about 21 ways to crush the listing presentation. This should be part of your marketing. This should be something that you're sending to folks before you're meeting with them at a buyer and seller consultation as part of your touch program. Yeah, thanks Derek for chiming in. We're gonna, looks like 11:08, we're gonna get fired up on today's content. Today's content is about establishing rapport. I've been chatting with a lot of you these past couple of weeks. Many of you are new to the industry in selling real estate, and many of you are new to the Team Tribe and EXP and may have not caught a couple of basic business starting tools. And I'm going to share those with you today. And then we're going to dive deep into what you really should be doing to attract people to your business, how to build rapport with them. What is rapport? That's all right, Derek. You don't feel obligated to answer, but let somebody else answer.
It's that you connect with somebody and you have a mutual connection with them. Like
okay, they like you. You're invested in them.
Yes.
You like them. You want to be friends with them. You want to be doing business with them. They feel comfortable around you. Your body language is secure, around them, meaning it's okay. You're in a natural state. That's really what building rapport means. And so where we get started in this, and I want to share, first of all, go back to the basics. And here we go. What I want to share with you is this is a part of this accounts pyramid that I keep chatting about. I had a consultation with a new agent yesterday, and they're like, well, just give me leads. I just want leads. I just want contacts and connections. And I think this is the problem why we have so many agents fall out of the industry in such a short period of time. This is what we call the washout rate. And after 4 years, we've got less than a 30% success rate for agents in business. And because they're not thinking about their business as accounts. Every person that you meet, every connection, every financial advisor, everybody that you meet socially, they need to be classified as part of your accounts pyramid. And it starts here. We start with channel accounts, and channel accounts are companies, they're referral networks, they're HR departments, and then we move to actual accounts with business to business related people, financial planners and CPAs and insurance folks and people that are in the financial services industry, may even be builders. Then we move to our top 50 clients. These are actually what would be called sphere of influence. And then everybody else that we meet, open house and online Zillow leads, and everybody else is prospects that we're trying to bring into our business. But here's what you need to understand. 75% of your business comes from these three main stacks of the pyramid. Yet most of us are focusing on all of these outside leads and trying to secure them for sale by owners and expireds. And it's because we haven't done a great job of establishing rapport with these people. Here's how I know that. Only 30% of people use the same agent who bought the same selling agent to list their house. That means there's a 70% washout rate of them using the same real estate agent again. Here's also what I know. 86% of business comes from referral. So really what we need to be doing on a routine daily basis is going out there, building relationships, establishing this level of rapport and connection with businesses, business people, and our sphere of influence. And so as we move into this, this becomes, guys, what I think is the most missed opportunity in our industry, because we're taught when we get into this industry, it's a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am business. Meaning we're going to do, just mute your self there. Eileen, oh, Jesus. I'm going to mute you. All right, she's muted. Okay, so diving into this, where does this start? I want to go back and say, look at your calendar right now, if you have it. We've got about 20 people on the call, 15 maybe. And how many business to business related or referral partner, human resources, or top 50 appointments do you have in your calendar for next week? The follow-up question for that, is there room for opportunity? And most of the time there is. And we have to think about this ahead from an organizational standpoint and set a goal with it. But here's what this ultimately looks like. Business people in the world, if you said, hey, I'm going to go out and instead of having leads for buyers and sellers, I'm going to have leads for people that will refer business to me. 86%, right? I mean, it means that the rest of the way that we get business out there in real estate only amounts to about 14% of the volume of sales. So I say, you know what? This year in 2021, I want to identify 131 people that I want to get in relationship with in the business world. For this specific person, Dayton Schrader, many of you may know Dayton. Dayton's been one of the top agents in Remax for a long period of time and just actually switched over to EXP. But this is what his results were. He went out and met 131 new people, which produced 53 transactions, which generated about $350,000 in revenue. And his average profit per unit, we talked about profit and loss last week, was $6,600. Pretty incredible statistics. And so what you got, how this starts for you guys is you got to identify who these people are that you want to go out and meet. Be strategic. People who you know, people who your clients know. If you needed 131 of these and you called your sphere of influence for nothing else, just to connect, but to say, hey, who are you currently using as a financial planner, as a CPA? Who's your insurance guy? And you can keep going down that line. Those will give you a number of leads that you can then follow up with and build rapport. And it looks like this. How? Hey, man, who are you? Who's your insurance guy? You like him? Do you mind if I call him? You know, I'm looking for insurance-related referral partners. Boom. That person now you can trial for trust. And then when I call Rich, I say, Rich, hey, Hal let me know he's really happy with your services. Hal's a good buddy of mine. I've known him for a couple of years. We're building an organization together. And I'm just wondering, you know, in 2021, can we get together and talk about potentially doing business together? Right? That's so easy. That's the triangle for trust. You got to identify these people. Next, you got to get involved and be tactical, meaning I'll share with you those the specifics of it, but get involved with them, understand who they are, take them golfing, do the break for breads, take them for a cocktail. And then we're continuing to ask for the business of referrals. Hey, who in your who do you know that you have in your insurance portfolio right now that may be thinking about selling their rental property? Who do you have that buying renters insurance with you that may be thinking about buying a house? You see how that works? These people are your connectors, yet we don't really do a great job at connecting with them. So this is where it starts. Then where do we go? We go, okay, here are the steps. Take advantage of your brand. If you don't have a brand, it's EXP. If here locally right now, Derek I don't know if Derek's still on the call or not, but I'll just say Derek and I pulled the stats a couple weeks ago. We're like number one in volume here, $1 billion in sales in Sacramento and Placer County. Use some of the branding techniques that you've accomplished or you've built. Call on industry professionals, call on non-industry professionals, call your best clients. Don't be afraid of no. We're going to talk about how to establish rapport in a minute. Follow up, we're going to use the follow-up checklist, which I'll share, and we're going to use the who would you refer script. And ultimately, if you thought about how to double your business in 2020, or if you're thinking about, I'm just getting in this industry, how do I break in? You got to go out there and build relationships with people. That's the number one thing. Stop the cold calling, stop the grind, get your butts out in front of people, get yourself in networking groups, take cards, hold seminars, get in front of people. All right, so here we go. Specifically, how do we establish rapport with referral partners? We're going to find a way for triangle for trust. That's what I was sharing with about calling your sphere of influence and find out who they're using, who you should be calling. We can use Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn to find somebody that we have in common. We can also use those to find other things out, which we'll talk about in a minute, about the specific targeted person. Prepare for the meeting as you would a job interview. Here's what I'll share with you guys. People are flattered when you call them and you ask them to meet. I would say in the past 6 months going through COVID, you've had people, we've talked about this, who are burying their head in the sand. You've got other people who are reaching out and they're saying, hey, let's get together. Let's meet. Let's talk about business. Would anybody guess? I mean, I would like to think of myself as one of the top agents in the area. I know many of you guys are the top agents in your area. How many calls have you got from people asking you for a face-to-face meeting, for a Zoom meeting to build business in 2021? Anybody? If you, zero. Derek says zero. Rich, how many? None. Hal?
0.
Okay, so you guys buying in that there's room for opportunity here? I got a call from a Big Valley mortgage rep the other day, and did I want to take it? No, but I respected her so much for reaching out and just saying, hey, can we talk about business? I'm like, yeah, I'll take the call with you. Okay, many of these people will too. So at the appointment, you know, you're gonna come in and you're gonna seek an agreement. You're gonna, nice office, beautiful day, great game. It's all positive. You're getting them to continuously agree to you. You're getting them on that yes chain. We're not going to talk about ourselves. We're going to ask them, you know, how'd you get started in your business? How long have you been in business? What do you do? What are we looking for? If we related this to a listing appointment, we're looking for a need. Okay. Understand, you're there to solve a problem. You're not going to get the business until you do. And we know there's 4 different, and some people will say, well, I'm scared, I'm new, I don't know anything about real estate. What am I going to do? Well, do you know how to work a database? Do you know how to help them set up a Facebook account? Do you know how to order them a headshot? Do you know how to co-market with them? Do you know how to tag them on Facebook or or set up their LinkedIn profile? There's a lot of things that you can do for people who are under leveraged, who are also business owners that have nothing to do with the real estate industry. We're giving them honor. We're giving them respect. We're asking them, what do you see happening with the economy in 2021? What do you see as the next big change in your business? We're giving them credit once we understand, meaning once we understand who they are, we've done the background research. We can say, hey, Rich, you know, I saw that you were the #1, financial planner for ABC, KTM insurance. Tell me about that. How did you get, what makes your skills so great that you've ascended above all of your peers? And then we're starting, and then we're, in those first questions, we are trying to identify a need, but then we really dive into it. And we can say, what's your biggest current frustration? A lot of people are under leveraged, meaning when you go out and you meet with other business owners, what you'll find out in people in the financial services industry is they are the same as a real estate agent, meaning 97% of them don't have a database. Here's how many times did your CPA reach out to you last year?
1.
Rich says 0.
0.
Once. Is that enough for them to build rapport with you? Is that enough so that if you're playing golf with me and I have another CPA and I go, Hal, you've got to use Derek. He's the man. Would you give him a chance? You would probably say, yeah, because we haven't done a great job of building rapport. So everybody in the business world, from attorneys to financial planners to CPAs, insurance professionals, they're in the same boat as real estate agents. You can go in there and find a need. We know there's 4 different types of needs in the business world. Okay, we learned this from the MREA. We can apply these same tactics and techniques to people in the business world, which means the 4 things: lead generation model, economic model, organizational model, and the budget model. And simply put, those questions asked: where's your business coming from? How much revenue are you making? How much are you saving and taking home to your family? And who's doing that? Who's helping you with that? We can overlay those same tactics, the same models, into their business. Chrissy, where are you getting your leads from? Well, I'm asking, you don't have to answer. Rhetorically, where are you getting your leads from? Great. What does your financial model look like once you get the leads coming in, and then we don't want to ask budget questions up front, but we can certainly talk about a profit and loss. And then, how can we help you? Can we find you an assistant? Okay, so we're looking to find a need. After the appointment, we're going to give them a handwritten note. We're going to follow up to their gatekeeper. That's their assistant or their, receptionist. And we're going to build or execute on any promises. I suggest if they're brand new to you, you do a two appointment close, which means, great, man, I'm not even talking about myself. If they ask, I'm going to divert, and because it's all about them. If I don't want to do business with them, I don't set a follow-up appointment. After this, I'm going to say, you know what, Ed's on the call. Hey, Ed, I've had a great time, and I feel like today meeting you and listening about your story, and I feel we can do business together. I'm going to take these, all these questions that I've asked you, I'm going to take them back to the office and really dive in and see if we can find a way to work together and solve some of the issues that you're dealing with. And I'm going to schedule a follow-up appointment. Okay. Some bullet points. It helps to know the industry they're in, their language, and their numbers. It makes you seem like you're educated in their industry. They may want to do business with you more. Mimic their mirror and style. We're going to talk about DISC and their pace. Take notes the whole time and listen for opportunities to serve, and obviously close for the second appointment. That's the magic move. Here's some communication styles, okay? And we went over these a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to dive in. But ultimately, when you're communicating with them, it's like an art. You have to be tactical about the following: how you're listening, how you're speaking, your tonality, and ultimately your body language. We're going to send these out, and I would dive in more to them, but ultimately, we want it. This is the most important thing. When we leave the appointment, and any appointment, we want to have given them as much energy as possible so that they feel good, because when they feel good, they're going to do business with you. Commit to being, and then you can say these affirmations before you're going in. I commit to be pleasant with each person I meet. I'm committed to being gracious and understanding. I'm committed to being considerate and non-judgmental. And I'm committed to being quick to smile, quick to praise, and less quick to talk about myself or make statements. So here's some tools that you can use. When you're working with a client, whether it's a referral partner or a buyer or seller, who are they? Are they a knower, a driver? Are they a thinker, more systematic or compliant? Or are they a high I? Are they a feeler? What's their learning modality? Are they auditory? Are they going to learn from us talking, from visual, or kinesthetically? What's the client's love language? Service, affirmation, time, gifts, or touch? Have you ever had a client that just won't get off the phone? Say, yeah, I have. Well, they're just wanting your time. Other clients just want immediate action. Like, I'll text you, did it get done? Great, service related. Other high eyes, they typically like gifts. And then some people want to be, want the touch and the feel and, oh, honey, it's great, right? So you got to understand when you're dealing with these people, what's their love language? That's when you're starting to build true rapport, when you know how they make decisions, how they learn, what their love language is, and then ultimately that helps us to identify their DISC style. Okay, then we're going to move into what's their social style. Thorough, focused, high quality, deliberate. Are they a driver? Are they amiable? Are they expressive? And what are the client's values? What do they drive for? And so understanding these helps you connect. Then we can talk about what the strengths are. And these would be types of questions that you could use as models when you're meeting with a referral partner. I'm gonna, sorry. Oh, somebody's typing it. Okay, so as far as a connector, these are the questions that you can kind of ask before you get there. But how many people do you service? How many people, do you have in your database? Who's working your database? How many times did you touch them last year? These are questions that you can ask to help find a need. If you guys came to me for a coaching call, these would be questions that I would immediately ask you. So do you really like people? Do you tend to remember people's names? Do you enjoy going to parties and meeting new people? Okay, like for me, I have a hell of a time with names. It's an issue for me. And then as a salesperson, do you find it difficult to sit when you're hearing good dance music? Do you have a loud laugh? Do you touch friends when you talk to them? Are you good at seduction, whatever that means? And do you like being the center of attention? So we have those personality types are heartlenders, interdirectives, or achiever. And then we understand how to influence them through reciprocity, the gift of giving, through commitment and consistency, through social proof, through authority, which doesn't really mean authority, which means more guiding them and sharing a path to success with them. And what is their mindset? Do they come from a scarcity mindset? All of these help you to build rapport and understand who the person is. So after we meet with them, we can go into an example account prospect plan. And this is Dayton's, the one that he uses for building rapport and relationships. So first, we're going to identify who they are. We're going to put them in our CRM. We're going to send them, an introductory letter. We're going to modify and send out we're going to send it out. Give them a handwritten note. Follow up in 3 to 4 working days to actually get the appointment with them. We're going to confirm the appointment. We're going to have the meeting. We're going to have a follow-up meeting. And we're going to set the why or why not, which the why or why not is why should we do business together, or maybe we shouldn't do business together. Give them the follow-up note. This is like your presentation. I show and they show. Find a need, how we can solve it. Another follow-up note. Set up an agreement meeting, meaning we're going to sign something, follow-up note and gift, and then we're going to execute on that agreement or plan. I'll share with you one of the most successful referral partner activities that we had was lender based. You guys know I do the service brochures, and I met with probably when I first got back from being a team leader in San Carlos, and I got here, I met with maybe 15 lenders, and all of them wanted a service brochure. They wanted me to help them with their communication in their database and many other things that lenders typically need that basically mirror real estate agents. But I got so many leads out of there the first year. I want to say we closed 15 extra transactions that year because of those service brochures and the co-marketing agreement. So this would be something where you could do that. You could meet with them and say, hey, what is we help them get headshots. We help them rebrand, give them cards. What else? We put them on a book program. They loved it. And I'm thinking I've just gotten so busy that we've moved away from that. But if you're struggling out there and you don't have anything going, you don't have any listing appointments or buyer appointments for next week, this is what you should be focusing on, because this is going to drive referrals for revenue. Okay. So that's an example prospect plan. Here's an example letter. I'm not going to read it. I'll paraphrase it, but basically it's just saying, hey, it's great to meet you. I've enjoyed our association with whoever that triangle for trust is. Maybe it's a business, maybe it's another person. And then, most influential business people have a database of reliable service professionals or vendors they trust. You have a go-to person in real estate. And you can read it, a little bit longer, but basically this is the letter that you're sending, introducing yourself. You can include one of the service brochures with it, but you're saying, hey, this is the introduction letter. I'm going to be calling here in a couple of days to schedule a one-on-one meeting. Anybody gotten anything like this lately?
Nope.
If you got it, would you go to the appointment?
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah. Most other business owners that you've taken the time to do this, they feel obligated. If most of them are top producers or top people in their, industry, they feel homaged, to give you a minute to grow. So we're going to send this out, copy it. make it your own, and then, let me know what you come up with as far as success. And then here's these are some scripts that you can use in regards to, Eileen. I know your phone now, Eileen. In relation to who would you refer? And there's basically, a couple different answers, but hey, Rich, you're a respected and influential person. I'm sure from time to time you get calls from friends, colleagues, and clients asking you advice or recommendations. If someone that you knew in the market was ready to sell or buy, who would you recommend? And they're going to say one of four things. They're going to say, somebody's a pro and we love them. They're going to say, we have somebody, but they're not really that sharp. They're going to say, you're my person, and I always give your card out. Or that, hey, I don't have anybody. And here's what you're going to find when you use this script, because I used it 10 years ago when I was doing the core training. Most people are in this area. They know a realtor. Everybody knows a goddamn realtor, but they're really not happy with them. How many real estate agents do you think give great service? Rhetorical question, but the answer is not very many. Okay, and I'll ask you this question as an agent yourself. How many times are you truly touching your sphere of influence? That's the true answer. Okay, so most people are in this area. I love Rich. I know Rich, but if somebody came along at the right period of time, I might just go with them. And it's because, related to a retail sell, right? And I've used this analogy a lot, but I think it's important here to use the analogy so that you, for 2021, get your customer service in order, and the amount of times that you're touching these referral partners or your top 25 in order. You go to Nordstrom and you're there to buy a pair of shoes. And somebody comes up and says, what? How can I help you? And you say, what? I'm just looking. Okay. But no, you're not just looking. You're there for a true reason. Nobody goes to Nordstrom on a Saturday in the middle of a pandemic just to look. And so what happens is you go and you find your pair of shoes, and then what do? You go straight to transact. You don't go back to the person most of the time that said, hey, Rich, how can I help you? Because time is money. You go right to immediate instant gratification. That's what your clients are doing too. That's what your referral partners are doing too. So unless you're branding and staying in front of them full time, they're going to use somebody to transact with that's immediately available. Whether that's from somebody on a park bench or somebody that, got referred in the interim, or somebody on Zillow or the listing agent. Okay. That's why it's important we stay in contact and we're asking these questions. And Rick Ruby says, we have these conversations 5 to 10 times a week, and you'll be rich. So we're going to go back, and I'm going to go back to this accounts pyramid really quickly. And I'm going to say, what does your accounts pyramid look like currently? And I would suggest that you have two of these. One is an accounts pyramid of what it looks like when it's done, starting with the end in mind. And the other is an actual accounts pyramid. Many of you are going to find that you need to work on this big time. Many of you are going to find that when I asked the question earlier, how many appointments do you have scheduled for next week? And that it's a goose egg, or it's one or two. And that's not enough to get it done. That's not enough to take market share. That's not enough to separate you from your competition. If we don't have an appointment with a buyer or seller next week, it doesn't mean that we don't pump anybody into that schedule. It means we start with the revenue generators, which are buyers and sellers. Then we move to, referral partners. And then we move to our lead trackers, call past leads or contacts who were previously interested in an appointment to buy or sell. And then we call these guys next. And we have it pre-planned in our calendar, in our appointments, that we're going to go meet with channel accounts, we're going to meet with business owners, or we're going to meet with people that are in our database in order to build rapport for referral. 86% of business comes from referrals. All we have to do is really focus more on taking care of these people. Okay. All right. So that's, between, just to recap, between identifying those people, we call them whales. Many of you are thinking right now, oh my God, this is over my head. Make your list of 30 people for 2021 that you need to go and meet with. So AJ just wanted me to get back in. Make your list of 30 people. Do your research on them. Send them the letter. After you schedule the appointment, follow this model. Understand how you're communicating. Understand how they're communicating and who they are and how they want to be communicated with. Understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and what their weaknesses are. Look for connectors, okay? These are what we call gatekeepers. And ultimately, put a plan in process to stay in connection with them, to continue to build rapport. Send them the letters and ask them who they would refer. All right? Okay, I'm going to stop the share real quickly. Okay, I'm back. Questions? Silence is good. Comments? Ahas. Let's go with ahas.
I hadn't really been thinking much about the business to business. I hadn't had my eye on that part, so it is good to kind of reach out and try to set people up for 2021 to kind of start building rapport. So I'm going to take that one.
Yeah. Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah, and I loaded my contacts into KV Core. So the first thing I did was just send an email out, but a lot of the contacts I have, I just have their phone number. So my next thing is I want to put together a text to just kind of send out to everyone, because I got a lot of replies through the email, which was nice just to connect and to start conversation and touch base with people I haven't talked to in a while.
I love it. So we've got to think about, I'm going to pull something else up here because we've got a little bit of time that I want to share with you guys. But if you're sitting out there and you're going, well, who the hell am I going to contact first in relation to this? Call your friends and family, number one, like I said, and ask them who they're using in the financial services world to help them out. Their CPAs, their financial planners. And if you don't have that big of a network, then go to your LinkedIn and start looking for people that you've connected with previously. On LinkedIn that maybe you don't know. Okay, hang on. Any other ahas out there? Okay, I'm pulling this up right here.
And I was just going to say, just being more intentional with the COVID stuff and the shelter in place. Some of the people that we were meeting with monthly, we kind of fell off because they have, they're super busy with teaching the kids and stuff. So it's just about getting them back on the schedule and doing Zoom calls instead of the actual face-to-faces if they can't.
Yep. Or doing, COVID compliant parties, if you will. Tom Davis did a nice one yesterday here in the parking lot, had a taco truck come. And so this is what your typical week should look like. And what you'll see here is most of these are all centered around referral related business or building relationships, face-to-face appointments, breaking breads, meaning you're cocktailing or having breakfast with somebody or lunch, your great phone calls with your leads, with your referral partners, with your past clients, with your current clients. This is truly building an accounts pyramid and building rapport when you're doing these things on a routine basis. Then, events, either attending or hosting events, they can be online, they could be in person, they could be a networking group. If you really want to jump out there in 2021, join 2 networking groups. That's an easy way to increase your, your relationship connection. Events, videos that you're sending to the group, videos that you're sending these people that you want to do business with. Hey, Eileen, I saw you on LinkedIn. We need to meet. We need to get together. I want to do business with you. Boom, text it to them. Use video to your advantage. We're not doing that enough. Ultimately, how many hours we're prospecting a week? How many thank you cards that we sent out? When's the last time you guys got a thank you card from anybody?
Been a while.
Okay. It's been a while. How does it make you feel when you do? Cared about. Is that building, when you feel cared about, that's building rapport. So we're sending thank you cards out. Ultimately, this whole thing comes to fruition in that you're getting people referred to you, or people who are raising their hands going, okay, we have these for you. And then those equal listing agreements and purchase agreements with equal revenue. Okay. We're going to send out all of these after the meeting today, and we're with the recording. So you'll have not only the recording to review, but you'll also have the forms. And I'm going to open it up now if anybody has anything they'd like to talk about or questions that they want to ask in relation to this program. And if not, we'll wrap up. I'm not sure, we couldn't hear you. Sean, can you share the scripts with me, please? And the pyramid and calendar? Yes, we're going to send it out to everybody. And Samantha, great. I'm going to the Chamber Networking event tonight. Here's a challenge for you guys. Here's my suggestion for you. As you're building this accounts pyramid, as you're reaching out to people and making connections, build your own networking group. You'll be in charge of it. People will, you can invite them to mixers. You can invite them to Zoom calls. You're in control. And I know that there's several people out in the world who aren't a fan of the Chamber of Commerce. So create something along the lines for yourself. And that's an easy way to go back to the accounts pyramid and build 50 people. If you got a networking group of 50 people, you've built out the center section of your accounts pyramid. So just a thought for some of you. Meetup, yeah, meetup.com is good for that. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Anybody got anything before we wrap up? Okay. Toodaloo.
Thank you, Sean. It was great.
Thanks, Sean.
All right. Welcome, guys.